stick with obviously the pharma sector and talk about what we're seeing in Novavax today, because we're seeing a huge move following their earnings report. You're looking at shares really moving to the downside. The company slashing its revenue forecast. And actually now we're looking at gains of just about 2%. So a bit of a reversal there. I'm curious, and this is a stock that tends to be extremely volatile following the earnings reports that we are getting. But I'm curious, there's a lot riding, obviously, just in terms of what demand is going to look like for the vaccine, whether or not they're going to see that updated shot here for the fall season, and what that is ultimately going to look like on a global scale as well. What do you see the future looking like here for Novavax amidst all of that uncertainty?
Yeah, for sure. This is a super volatile stock. Not that surprised that it's up today. When you just look at the valuation of a company that's worth a little bit more than $1 billion and is still going to do roughly 400 to 500 million in sales next year with the vaccine, you're not looking at a huge multiple. But when you kind of like zoom out here, this COVID market for vaccines, I think, is going to be incredibly disappointing, not only this year, but in the out years, barring some unforeseen pickup in a very severe strain of the virus, which has not really happened in some time now. We're 4 years away from peak pandemic levels. We've really not seen anything overly discouraging or concerning relating to the virus in a number of years. I just think the population is kind of vaccinated out. I've been saying that for a while. I do think there's a faction of the population that wants this extra protection every year. The elderly, people with a lot of comorbidities that are very, very kind of paranoid about what getting COVID again could do. But I feel like we're in the midst of just a market in perpetual decline. So for Novavax, that has a low revenue base, it's a little bit different because again, as a $1.2 billion company, you can kind of make the numbers work. But broadly speaking, I just feel like COVID vaccines as we know them are going to decline for a number of years.